There are stories we carry without realizing it. Buried deep in your blood, Sagittarius is the memory of a fire that didn't start with you, but burns because of you. And no, I'm not speaking in metaphors. I'm speaking in codes only your soul will recognize. Because something about this moment, this exact second you click this video, is not random. You've felt it for years. That quiet sense that you're meant for something more, that there's a secret you've always known but couldn't quite name. A knowing that you came here not just to live but to awaken. And tonight, we unlock that. This is not one of those videos you half listen to while checking your phone. This is a remembering, a spiritual mirror, a dangerous invitation. Because I'm not here to flatter you. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to remind you what your fire already knows, that God planted 7 sacred gifts inside of you, Sagittarius. Not gifts of comfort, but of calling, powers that were placed in you for a reason, long before the world gave you a name. And here's the part no one talks about. These gifts are not always easy. They make you misunderstood. They make you restless. They make you dangerous to every system that wants you tamed. That's why so many never unlock them. But you're still watching, and that already tells me something. Because the 7th gift, the final one, that's the one that changes everything. That's the one that explains why your entire life has felt like preparation for something the world hasn't seen yet. So take a breath, not the shallow kind. I mean a full breath into your ribs, your chest, your spirit. Because what you're about to hear may not just explain your life, it may ignite it. This is your moment of remembrance, and it begins now. Let's begin with the first sacred power, the one that sets everything in motion. The vision beyond the visible. But before we go there, comment if something in you already knows these gifts were planted in me for a reason. Gift number 1. The vision beyond the visible. Every soul is born with eyes. But Sagittarius, you were born with a telescope. While others wake up and see only what's in front of them, the noise, the deadlines, the routines, you wake up with something far more dangerous. You wake up haunted by horizons that haven't happened yet. You see what the world could become, and sometimes you carry the burden of what it must become. This isn't fantasy. This is your divine assignment. You were given a sacred lens to perceive what most are too distracted to notice. Futures, pathways, shifts in energy, entire realities that haven't unfolded but vibrate inside you like a drumbeat. And that Sagittarius is your first inner power, the vision beyond the visible. Even as a child, you may have felt out of place, like you were always reaching for something just beyond the edge of language. Maybe you were told to tone it down, that your ideas were too much, your questions too complex, your energy too intense, but you couldn't pretend not to see what you saw, because you weren't born to inherit the world as it is. You were born to reimagine it. This is why your soul suffocates in jobs that don't mean anything, why average relationships make you restless, why you keep leaving the familiar not to escape, but to expand. You are designed to be uncomfortable with comfort zones. Let me tell you a story. Walt Disney, born under your sign, was once fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. They told him he didn't have vision, but that same man went on to draw entire universes out of nothing but pencil and belief. He built not for applause, but because he saw something no one else could see yet, just like you do. You are not crazy. You are early, and the world often punishes those who see too far ahead. That's the hidden cost of this gift, the loneliness of vision. Because when you see what others can't, you often have to walk alone until the rest catch up. And most won't. Comment if you've ever felt like the only one in the room who saw the bigger picture and no one else believed you. Now ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped apologizing for your ideas? What would happen if you trusted the wild, brilliant things that keep visiting you at 3 a.m.? Because here's the truth. Your visions are not distractions. They're blueprints. And if you dare to follow them, if you choose to believe them even when no one else does, you become more than just a dreamer. You become a builder of worlds. Life lesson: the future doesn't belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who see it first and have the courage to move even when the road is empty. You were never here to follow. You were born to imagine what's next and walk toward it, even if you have to walk alone. Now let's continue. Because to carry such a vision, you need something deeper than logic. You need a fuel that doesn't burn out when no one claps. You need a flame that rises from within. And that's where your second sacred gift comes in. Let's enter the fire, the sacred flame of enthusiasm. Gift number 2, the sacred flame of enthusiasm. There is a fire in you that refuses to go out. And no, it's not the kind others can easily see. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it flickers quietly beneath your ribs, barely noticed by the outside world. But it's there, always, waiting for something real to ignite it. This is your second sacred gift, Sagittarius, the sacred flame of enthusiasm. But don't mistake this for hype. Your fire is not some shallow cheer or temporary rush of adrenaline. It is spiritual, it is ancestral, it is world and sacred. When you feel meaning, when something resonates with your truth, this fire rises. And when it rises, you become unstoppable. You move with a force that feels almost otherworldly. You don't just show up, you blaze in. You don't just support, you lead with heat, vision, and passion. And here's what most people misunderstand. This flame isn't always loud. It's not about volume, it's about conviction. When your inner fire catches, you can work longer than anyone else, love harder, fight deeper, believe more fiercely than anyone around you. And yes, this makes you magnetic. People are drawn to your energy because it awakens something they've forgotten in themselves. Your laughter isn't just joyful, it's liberating. Your ideas don't just inspire, they awaken possibilities that others didn't even know were inside them. But that's not always a gift without a cost. Because sometimes you give your fire to people who don't know how to hold it. You burn brightly only to realize they were never meant to walk through the flames with you. And when that happens, Sagittarius, you start to dim yourself. You tell yourself, maybe it's better to hide your enthusiasm, to act chill, to care less. But that's the trap. Because the moment you dim your flame to fit in, you stop being you. Comment if you've ever felt the need to shrink your passion just to be accepted. Let me say this clearly. Your fire is not too much. It's not dangerous. It's divine. And the right people, they don't get burned by your flame. They get lit by it. Life lesson: never dull your sacred fire for someone who fears their own shadow. The world doesn't need less of your light. It needs you fully lit, fully alive, fully awake. Let your enthusiasm be the proof that your soul is still on fire for the truth. Now let's go even deeper. Because vision and fire are only the beginning. What comes next is the reason you've never been able to stay quiet, even when it would have been easier to fake it. Let's uncover your third gift, the hunger for truth. Gift number 3, the hunger for truth. You were never meant to accept things as they are. Sagittarius, inside you is a sacred hunger, a kind of spiritual fire that doesn't burn for pleasure, but for meaning. It's the voice inside you that whispers in the quiet, there has to be more than this. And that voice has never gone silent. This is your third divine gift, the hunger for truth. While others chase comfort, you chase clarity. While some are content with routine answers, you keep asking deeper questions, not to rebel, but because your soul refuses to settle for illusions. You have walked away from beliefs that no longer felt true. You've challenged systems, relationships, even yourself, because you sensed that what you were told wasn't the whole story. And no, that doesn't make you unstable. It makes you devoted to the truth, not the tradition. This is why you can't stay in places that feel fake. Why you lose interest in people who pretend. Why you'd rather be alone in honesty than surrounded by shallow approval. You are a seeker, a soul built for philosophy, for exploration, for the long, winding journey into what's real. And it hasn't always been easy, has it? There have been times you were called difficult, times people mistook your questioning for arrogance, Times you were asked to stay quiet, to let it go, to stop pushing, but you couldn't because something in you was starving. You weren't searching for facts. You were searching for truth, the kind that breathes, the kind that heals, the kind that burns through the surface and reaches the soul. Comment if you've ever walked away from a comfortable lie in order to stand inside an uncomfortable truth. Because here's what most people don't realize. Truth is not a destination, it's a path. And the Sagittarius was born to walk it. Life lesson. When you make truth your compass, you may lose the crowd, but you will find yourself. Do not fear being alone on the road of honesty. The soul doesn't grow where it's safe. It grows where it's real. Now, let's move on. Because once you've found truth, Sagittarius, you don't keep it to yourself. You speak it, you embody it, you set it on fire and send it into the world. And that brings us to your fourth sacred gift, the voice that awakens. Gift number 4, the voice that awakens. Some people speak to be heard. You speak to wake the sleeping. Sagittarius, your words aren't just sound. They're fire made audible. You don't speak to fill silence. You speak to break illusions. This is your fourth sacred gift, the voice that awakens. And you felt it, haven't you? That moment when you say something, maybe a question, a story, a raw truth, and everything shifts. The room gets quiet. Someone takes a breath they didn't know they were holding. The atmosphere changes. That's not coincidence. It's your soul doing what it came here to do. Because your words are not decoration, they're catalysts. You may not always realize it, but when you speak from truth, your voice becomes medicine, not the kind that numbs, the kind that stings before it heals, the kind that reminds people who they are. This is why you can't lie, even when it would be easier. Why you can't fake a smile when your spirit knows something is off. Why you've sometimes paid a high price for speaking up. And yes, there are people who feared your voice, not because you're unkind, but because deep down they knew you could see through them. But you weren't born to stay silent just to keep others comfortable. You were born to say the things others bury, to name what others avoid, to speak the truths that open locked hearts and burned bridges. Comment if you've ever felt your words hit someone deeper than you expected and you knew it wasn't just you speaking. Here's the thing, most forget your voice is not just yours. It's a vessel. When aligned with your fire and your truth, your words carry the wisdom of centuries, the energy of something far greater than ego. Life lesson. When you speak from your essence, you don't need to be loud to be heard. The truth doesn't shout, it resonates. Trust your voice, Sagittarius, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. And now we shift, because after awakening others with your voice, you must live what you speak, not in theory, in motion, in expansion, in freedom. That brings us to your next gift, one that defines your very existence, freedom as a spiritual state. Gift number 5, freedom as a spiritual state. Some call it rebellion, but Sagittarius, for you, freedom is not a choice. It's a spiritual necessity. You weren't made to be tamed. You weren't built to obey what doesn't resonate with your soul. You were designed to move physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, because stillness for you often feels like suffocation. This is your 5th sacred gift, freedom as a spiritual state. Others may chase freedom as a lifestyle. You embody it as a way of being. That's why when something no longer nourishes your growth, a job, a belief, a relationship, you leave, not out of spite, but out of loyalty. Loyalty to your soul's unfolding. And yes, this has cost you things. You've been misunderstood. You've been called inconsistent. People have accused you of running away, but they don't see it clearly. You're not escaping, you're returning to your essence. Because for you, Sagittarius freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about honoring what feels true. It's about aligning your life with what feeds your inner fire, not what checks a box. This is why routines that lack meaning destroy you. Why staying just because feels like betrayal. Why you'd rather leap into the unknown than live one more day in a cage built by expectation. Comment if you've ever had to walk away from something that looked perfect on the outside but felt wrong on the inside. And let's be clear, this kind of freedom, it isn't easy. It asks you to disappoint others. It requires courage, clarity, and deep self-trust. But in exchange, it gives you everything. Life lesson. True freedom isn't about having options. It's about having alignment. When your choices match your soul, you become untouchable, not because life gets easy, but because you finally start living in harmony with your truth. Now we turn inward, because while you can fly far, there's something even more sacred than movement, and that's your ability to always return to your fire. Let's explore your sixth gift, loyalty to your own flame. Gift number 6, loyalty to your own flame. You can travel far, Sagittarius, farther than most. You can reinvent yourself 100 times, burn through lifetimes in a decade, and still have fuel left to explore what's next. But no matter how far you go, you always return to the same place, your flame. This is your 6th sacred gift, loyalty to your own flame. You may drift, you may doubt, but the truth is you never forget who you are. Even in your darkest seasons, there's a glow inside you that refuses to die. That flame is your compass. It reminds you of what you came here to do. It pulls you back when you start betraying your values. It stirs when you try to settle for less. It burns when you say yes to things your soul said no to. And this is what separates you from so many. You can be flexible, adaptable, curious, even chaotic. But when something dims your flame, when it silences your joy or violates your truth, you walk away. Not because you're flaky, but because you've learned the cost of staying where your light can't breathe. Sagittarius, this gift doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the moment you leave a conversation because it lacks depth. It's the instinct to cancel plans when your spirit needs solitude. It's knowing when to rest, when to move, and when to begin again. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. Comment if you've ever returned to yourself after drifting too far from who you really are. Because here's what many forget, your flame is not a phase, it's a promise. And when you stay loyal to it, when you choose people, paths, and projects that feed that fire, you don't burn out, you burn brighter. Life lesson. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to chase what doesn't ignite you. The most powerful thing you can do is to remain loyal to your passion, your purpose, and your inner flame. Everything else will follow. Now we arrive at the final threshold. Everything has been leading here. Because the 7th gift, Sagittarius, isn't just a trait, it's a revelation. Let's step into the truth you've always carried, but maybe never fully understood. Gift number 7, expanding consciousness. You were never meant to live inside the known. While others are content with fences, with labels, with step-by-step lives, you were born facing the stars, wondering what else is out there, and more importantly, what else is in here. This is your 7th and most sacred gift, Sagittarius, expanding consciousness. It's why the rules never felt right, why tradition felt too small, why even when you had what others wanted, comfort, stability, applause, you still felt something calling you forward. Because your soul wasn't sent here to repeat, it was sent to reveal. You are not here to copy, you are here to expand, to shake the dust off old truths, to question what others accept, to plant ideas in places where no one knew a seed could grow. You don't speak just to inspire. You live in a way that makes others remember what it feels like to be alive. And yes, this gift has come at a cost. You've been exhausted, misunderstood, even accused of being too intense, too wild, or too different. But what they were really saying was this: you couldn't be controlled. Because expanding consciousness requires movement, and movement requires courage. And you, Sagittarius, were born for both. Comment if you've ever felt pulled towards something greater, even when you didn't know where it would lead. Because here's the truth, your very presence is a spiritual disruption. You awaken people just by being yourself, You don't teach with words alone. You teach with the way you leave what no longer fits, with the way you return to your truth after getting lost, with the way you live unapologetically, imperfectly, and always in pursuit of something real. Life lesson. You are not here to finish what others started. You're here to begin what no one dared to imagine. Your gift is not to settle into this world, but to stretch it. And now, Sagittarius, you know the 7. But this journey doesn't end here, because knowing your gifts is not enough. What matters now is what you do with them. Let's step into the final piece, the conclusion. A new fire begins. If this awakens something in you, if even one gift reminded you of who you truly are, then this space was made for you. Subscribe to the eternal fire of Sagittarius and return anytime you forget your power, because here we don't just talk about astrology. We remember why your soul chose to be born under fire. Your journey is sacred. Let's walk it together.